So in this video, I'm going to tell about how SEBI has ripped apart Growpital in its order dated 26th April 2024. I'm myself an investor in Growpital, so I'm not happy to say all this, but really there is no other way to put it. It is really SEBI's punches to Growpital in its order on 26th of April 2024, and all of us have to take it on our chins. So let's go right into it. I divided these punches into 8 parts. The first part is, let's see the Growpital's argument that they cannot usurp the property which they are involved with for farming. That's what they had told SEBI. Now, SEBI in its response on the page 44 of the order, I'll leave the order link in the description of the video, has stated the following, and I quote, "Entities have also submitted that as per the LLP agreement, any property acquired from the funds of the LLP is vested in the name of the partners, and thus there is no apprehension that the entities will usurp the property," which means really that Growpital cannot run away with the properties. In this regard, I have perused, and I over here is the SEBI member who has written this report. He says, "I have perused the material submitted by the entities in relation to the assets owned by them, which reveals that the farm assets have been shown to be owned by Yota Agro Ventures Private Limited, and none of the 3 LLPs have any ownership over the same. Further, the entities have failed to submit anything to substantiate their claims that any property was in fact in the name of the partners." Now, this is a howler. It's really very worrisome. I thought that being an LLP member, the LLP was the owner of the property. So it really casts a dark shadow on Growpital's argument that they cannot usurp the property. Technically, it seems that they can, because the property is not in the name of the LLP. So Growpital, what's going on over here? This was the first punch. Let's go to the second punch. Growpital's argument that existing investors are getting hurt. So here Growpital told SEBI that because of their initial order on 29 Jan freezing the bank accounts, the existing investors are getting hurt, and the farming operations are getting hurt because farms are perishable things. So SEBI has responded in its order on this point from page 41. Note that the interim order has clearly recorded that the urgent need to ensure that additional funds are not mobilized through the Growpital platform under its scheme or arrangement plans, and to safeguard the assets acquired from the funds of the investing public until full facts and materials are brought out and final decision is taken in the matter. In view of the same, the submission of the entities, that is Growpital in this case, that it is not clear as to whose interest is SEBI trying to protect is also not tenable. As stated in the interim order, in absence of the directions issued therein, many prospective investors might have got lured and would have fallen for the promise of assured profits made by the entities. Further, the entities were also planning to conduct a pre-IPO equity funding round, as claimed by Mr. Rituraj Sharma, which would have led to the involvement of multiple other investors. Accordingly, the present proceedings seek to ensure that the interest of the present and prospective investors or partners is safeguarded and the hard-earned money of such investors is safe and secure. So essentially, what SEBI is trying to say is that it has locked in on the funds to protect the interests of the existing investors, and it has prevented the future investors, the probable and the prospective future investors, to jump on the bandwagon because the whole operation is presumably illegal. So that's what SEBI has told. SEBI has effectively told us over here that don't get emotional about it. Look at it very rationally. We are preventing a systemic risk in which various investors, can get hurt. Let's see the third punch from SEBI. So Growpital submitted a proposal to SEBI for the day-to-day operations and the return of capital on the 19th of April. On that proposal, SEBI states from page 42 that an amount of approximately 46.5 crores is currently frozen in the bank accounts of the ZF Project LLPs, Farm Zero Tech LLP and Yota Agro Ventures Private Limited, and rupees 6 crores approximately is lying with the Cash-Free Payments India Limited. The entities propose to utilize 25.5 crores out of the said amount for the farming operations. Now, this is an important figure. So, effectively, Growpital is asking SEBI to unfreeze 25.5 crores from their bank accounts. And the order further mentions, this amount has been obtained from investors or partners as capital contribution, of course. And then later on, SEBI mentions, note that while email dated April 22nd, 2024, the entities were asked to submit details of the breakup of the utilization of 25.5 crores proposed to be utilized. That's fair enough. However, they as in Growpital, have given a generic reply that the amount shall be used as working capital without providing any basis for computation of the same. No breakup in terms of current assets and liabilities or specific details of expenses, suppliers, etc. has been provided. The entities also replied that the utilization is as per the projections, and there's a table given over there, which, however, indicate a total expense requirement of 64.3 crores. I thus note, which is the SEBI officer saying that, I thus note that the entities have not given clarity on the schedule of utilization, the specific items for which these funds of 25.5 crores will be used. So this is strange, isn't it? Growpital is asking to unfreeze 25.5 crores so that they can run their operations. But the total requirement by them for meeting their expenses is 64.3 crores. This doesn't add up. Why would they unfreeze a smaller amount than the expenses? So that is a question mark which SEBI has put in on this punch. Let's go to the fourth punch. So SEBI here objects to the utilization of past funds, and which is very worrisome. From its note on page 43 of the order, SEBI states that the entities via email dated April 22nd, 2024 were also advised to submit details of expenses incurred for farming with farm-wise breakup since inception till FY 2023-24. So FY 2023-24 means till the end of March 31, 2024 and over the whole year. The entities via email dated April 23, 2024 has submitted over 600 invoices, payment vouchers for the ZF Project 1 and ZF Project 2 LLPs, which add up to not more than 30 crores. So these are the expenses being, for which the proofs are being provided by Growpital as required by SEBI. SEBI says, further, out of this amount, over 28 crores has been paid to one entity for the sole purpose of organic manure and inputs. However, the amount claimed to be allocated for farming activities as per their submissions made via their earlier letter dated February 23, 2024 and also indicated during the hearing on April 22, 2024, it is much higher at 149 crores. Thus, their submissions on the actual utilization of the funds for farming expenses appear to be deficient and contradictory. You can see it for yourself, it's in black and white. SEBI asked for submission of expenses for farming in the inception till 2024, the FY 2023 and 24. Growpital came back with invoices worth 30 crores. But SEBI is saying, hey, even from those 30 crores, 28 crores is given for one sole purpose, which itself is suspicious. But in their previous information, they had shown expenses of 149 crores, which means if the expenses were 149 crores, where are the invoices and payment vouchers for the rest of the expenses beyond 30 crores? So again, a big question mark on the expenses shown by Growpital. Then there are SEBI's observations, and this is the fifth punch really. SEBI's observations on Growpital's 5-year plan. So on April 19th, Growpital submitted a 5-year plan on how they will run the operations in the future so as to eventually return back the capital of all the partners. And here, the note from page 43 from SEBI says, the entities have submitted a 5-year plan to generate revenues and profits from farming operations using the aforementioned 25.5 crores, which would be unfrozen. That was a request for unfreezing. The entity was advised to submit assumptions underlying these projections. However, no information in this regard was submitted. Come on, Growpital, what's going on? When you submit a business plan, you have to give these assumptions under which you will earn the revenue. In fact, you have to give the base case, the worst case, and the best case, and those kind of things. That's Finance 101. Anyway, the SEBI also notes from page 47 of the order, as per the projections, at least 85% of the revenues for the next year, which is FY 2024-25, which is till March 31, 2025, will be derived from land parcels in Assam and Nagaland. So note this, 85% from two places. That's a SEBI officer speaking, however, note that no submissions have been made of any revenues that have been derived in the past from these areas, which means you're banking on areas where the revenues have never been derived from, and 85% of next year's revenues will be coming from these areas. Looks suspicious again. That's really not how you do business in the real world. That's why it's suspicious. And SEBI order goes on to mention, note that 84%, which is 61.7 crores out of the total 73.8 crores, which is the last year's revenue since inception, of the total revenues were derived from a single crop of jeera seeds farmed on a location in Barmer, Rajasthan with acreage of 75 acres. It thus appears that the projected revenues are proposed to be generated through areas and crops which till now have not yielded any revenues. So there are two things being mentioned by SEBI out here. That your past revenues of the past year, which is 73.8 crores, 84% is coming from one location, which means Growpital is not having a proper diversification strategy, which itself is a risk for the investors. And SEBI is looking into all these risks. Further, the projected revenues are coming from areas which have never been used for revenues in the past. So the whole, the past is suspicious, and the future is even perhaps more suspicious. Let's go to the sixth punch. SEBI even objects to the past revenue claim of FY 2023-24, which is the last year, of 73.8 crores. In its order on pages 47 and 48, SEBI mentions a lack of clarity around the actual revenues generated from farming operations. So SEBI is saying that, hey, you are saying 73.8 crores was generated last year, but we don't think so. And why? Because SEBI order mentions the revenue numbers contradict the submissions made by Mr. Rituraj Sharma in one of his videos in December 2023, wherein he told investors and partners that revenues of 110 crores have been closed for the first 9 months of FY 2023 and 24, and another 250 to 300 crores are expected to be closed over the next 3 months. The submitted revenue numbers therefore fall far short of the claims made by Rituraj Sharma. Effectively, SEBI is saying, hey, you guys said that in FY 2023 and 24, you were expecting revenues of nearly 400 crores. And yet, when we asked you for the numbers, you just gave 73.8 crores. So there's a huge gaping hole between what was achieved and what was claimed, which clearly means that Growpital was misinforming the investors in its video communications. Let's go to the next punch, which is the seventh punch. SEBI even doubts the future operations in Nagaland and Assam. So SEBI's note from page 48 and 49 says that 74% of the projected revenues in Growpital's plan is proposed to be generated from Nagaland and 2 tea estates in Assam. Now, for Nagaland, SEBI's order notes the entities have not submitted any evidence of specific farm locations or actual allotment of land by the Nagaland authorities. Now, that is very disturbing. And for Assam, it appears that the lease deeds for the 2T estates are yet to be executed. Now look at this, guys. 74% of the projected revenues are coming from these two areas for the year, for the next years. And both these contracts are suspicious. So therefore, SEBI says, appears that a significant portion of the expected revenue is based on unsubstantiated assumptions. Again, a risk to the investors. And from page 50, the order notes that in view of the above, that's a SEBI officer, I note that the entity's past performance and experience is not in sync with the projections. They do not appear to have actual land allocation in Nagaland and Assam, and they have been unable to detail the manner in which the funds, if released, will be actually utilized. SEBI here is talking about the funds which have been requested to be unfreezed. SEBI goes on to mention there's also a lack of clarity on the actual revenues obtained till date from farming operations, with contradictory claims having been made by Mr. Rituraj Sharma, and the utilization of funds contributed by the investors or partners. And therefore, SEBI is saying that your whole operations, your whole claims, and your whole future projections are completely bungled up, and therefore it poses a huge risk to the investors. And the final punch, SEBI completely rubbishes Growpital's proposal for day-to-day operations and for return of capital to the investors. On its note from page 50, SEBI mentions the proposal submitted by the entities is not backed by sufficient rationale and basis. It suffers from a lack of clarity on fund utilization, which raises concerns about transparency and accountability on how the funds will be used. Furthermore, the proposal's vague nature creates uncertainty about its viability and potential risks. Thus, in the absence of compelling evidence, the entities have failed to provide a satisfactory justification to show that the release of any funds which have in any case been prima facie mobilized through illegal means would be in the interests of investors or partners. So there we are. That's the final knockout punch from SEBI in its order for Growpital. I don't really understand, I don't really know how Growpital will counter all these arguments from SEBI and allegations by SEBI in its hearing on June 21st with SAT. I'm feeling depressed at the moment, and I'm losing hope. In my mind, I've already lost the money which I invested in Growpital. Sorry about this, guys. Life goes on.